"You're old. Go live with the pigs." That's what Sienna said while standing in the living room I had spent 25 years building. My son Cal had been in the ground for only 3 weeks. The funeral flowers were still fresh, their scent not yet soured, but she spoke as if I had already turned to dust. Mr. Halverson, the attorney, fumbled with his folder. His cough was nervous, his hands too careful. When he read Cal's will, it carved me out with a single sentence. To Rowena Maddox, I leave the cabin on Ash Hollow Ridge, along with any personal contents therein. The rest all of it went to her. The house, the accounts, the insurance. $5 million. She didn't blink. She smiled. She whispered. That I was old. That I should vanish. That Cal had done what was best. I wanted to scream. But grief had dried my throat into silence. The cabin sagged under its own weight when I returned. Hinges groaned like they were protesting my presence. The air smelled of damp stone, of dust that had settled for decades. 2 boxes were all I brought, clothes in one, and in the other Cal's photo, my wedding ring and the coffee grinder that had once filled mornings with warmth. The pipes were burst. The wiring sparked. Nights belonged to shadows and candles. Silence pressed so heavy it felt like punishment. But the silence also listened. On the 3rd night, I heard it a metallic clink beneath the porch boards, soft, hollow, not an accident. I pressed my hand to the wood. One plank shifted. Cal used to play right there, burying plastic dinosaurs, pretending he'd found treasure. With trembling hands, I pried the board loose. There, buried in dirt, was a brass key, dull but sharp at the teeth. Waiting, my knees ached as I crawled into the cabin's belly. Flashlight beam trembling on damp soil. A wall looked wrong-patched too neatly. Behind loose siding, hidden in stone, I found a box. The key fit perfectly. Inside, a manila envelope tied in ribbon. And a letter, my name on it in Cal's handwriting. Mom, if you're reading this, she took everything, but I left you what matters. You won't find it, only you would know where to look. My heart stuttered. Inside the envelope, an amended will. Mineral rights. Geological surveys scribbled with Cal's notes. High concentrations green tourmaline. Gem grade. A mining company's offer millions. His handwriting below it. Not yet. She's not ready. He knew he had seen her coming, and he had chosen me. The forest outside no longer looked like wilderness. It looked like a vault. Sienna arrived weeks later, tires crunching the gravel like she owned even the stones. Her red SUV glittered. Her perfume cut the air. Wow, worse than I imagined. She sneered. Don't get too comfortable. It's developers. Want this ridge? It'll be worth something soon. I said nothing, only watched her. She didn't like silence. She left, smug, her heels sinking into the soft ground. She had no idea. My lawyer from Bellevue filed the amended will. The mineral rights were secured. Quietly, strategically. No gossip. No noise. Dr. Ernest Fallow walked the ridge for 3 days, hammering stone, scribbling notes. His verdict: you're sitting on a fortune. 12 million minimum. And that's just what we can measure. I didn't gasp. I only nodded. Cal had left me more than money. He'd left me power. From the outside, the cabin stayed a ruin. Same peeling paint. Same leaning mailbox. Same sagging porch rail. But inside, the lights hummed, the water ran hot, and a fortune pulsed beneath the floorboards. And still I told no one winter came. And with it, Sienna. Not gilded this time. Hollow. Shivering in a thin coat. Her bracelets gone. Her eyes raw. Rowena, she whispered, please, I don't deserve it, but I need help. The house foreclosed. The cars repossessed. The money gone burned through on Paris trips, bad loans, and vanity. She confessed it all at my table, holding a mug she never sipped. I didn't rage, didn't pity. I gave her terms. I'll pay your debt, but as a loan, 10 years, 5% interest. And you'll work here. Every weekend. Cleaning. Hauling. Fixing. Her lips trembled. Here. That's humiliating. No humiliation you already earned. This is correction. And one last condition, she would write an apology. Not just to me, to the family. And read it aloud at the next gathering. Pride quivered like a dying flame. But at last she nodded. The first weekend, I handed her a broom. The same porch where she once spat her cruelty now echoed with the sound of bristles dragging like regret made physical. She scrubbed until her shoulders shook. I sipped coffee, steam rising like smoke from an old fire. She asked how I afforded it all. I let the silence hang, then finally said, "The land you laughed at." It listened. Cal saw what it could be. Now I own every stone beneath your feet. Her rags stilled, her head lowered, 10 weeks stretched. She came back again and again, stripped of glamour, hands raw from labor. I watched her change, not quickly, not dramatically, but in increments. Each silence between us pressed down on her. Pride, reshaping it into something quieter. By spring, the hills shimmered with green. The mining firm began discreet extractions, their trucks hidden in the woods. Money flowed, steady and silent, while the cabin's old bones grew strong again. No one in town asked questions. They thought I was forgotten, a widow wasting away. On a ridge, let them think it. Silence was my shield. At the next holiday gathering, Sienna stood before the family, paper trembling in her hand, eyes glistening. She read her apology aloud, her voice cracking on every word she had once weaponized. The same mouths that once whispered "poor Sienna" now watched her unravel in confession. And I quiet, steady sat in the corner. Not triumphant, not vindictive. Just rooted. Cal had given me everything. Not gold, not pity. Freedom, power, a silence that was no longer exile, but earned, and as Sienna's voice faltered, I felt it, the ridge itself beneath me. Humming with its buried wealth, its hidden strength. My land, my story, mine.